It was a beautiful Saturday evening in the heart of Lagos, Nigeria. The sun had just begun to set, casting a golden glow over the wedding venue. The air was thick with the scent of jollof rice and fried plantains wafting from the food stands, and the beat of Afrobeats filled the air. There was joy in the atmosphere as friends and family gathered to celebrate the union of our closest friends, Nkechi and Tund. I was with my husband, Chijioke, as we stood among the crowd, enjoying the festivities. We had been married for 5 years, and everything was supposed to be perfect. But tonight, something felt off. Chijioke had always been my steady rock, calm, thoughtful, and grounded. But as the night went on, he seemed distant. We had been drifting, but I couldn't quite pinpoint why. He smiled and nodded at the jokes of friends, but his eyes were elsewhere, lost in thought. It made me feel invisible. As the evening wore on, I went to the bar to get a drink, hoping the wine would calm my nerves. That's when I saw him, David, the groom's cousin, and someone I had known for years. We had always been friends, but there was something about him tonight that pulled me in. Maybe it was the way he smiled at me or the spark in his eyes that made everything else fade away. I had never noticed how handsome he was before, but tonight, he was irresistible. "Ah, it's been a long time, Eniola," he said with a grin, leaning over the bar. "You look amazing tonight." I laughed, trying to brush off the unexpected tension. But there was something about him, the way he looked at me made my heart race. The conversation flowed easily, and soon we were talking about old times, childhood memories, and everything in between. I could feel my attraction to him growing by the second, and my thoughts started to get clouded. Chijioke was still chatting with his friends, unaware of what was happening just a few feet away. David and I talked for a while, and then we stepped outside to get some fresh air. The night was cool, and the sound of the wedding party echoed from inside. It only took one moment, just one glance, and before I knew it, David kissed me. It wasn't planned. It wasn't intentional. It was like a burst of heat, an impulse I couldn't control. And then, there was another kiss. And another. I knew what I was doing was wrong, but the pull was too strong. We found a quiet corner behind the venue, hidden from everyone. I told myself it was just a kiss. It meant nothing. But deep down, I knew it was much more than that. When we finally stopped, I pulled away, my heart racing, and a cold wave of guilt washed over me. What had I done? How had I let this happen? I looked at David and said, This isn't right. I shouldn't have done this." He smiled, but I could see the regret in his eyes too. "But you did," he whispered. "And so did I." As we returned to the wedding, I could barely look my husband in the eye. He was laughing, telling jokes with his friends, completely unaware of what had just happened. I felt sick. Every laugh, every word he spoke felt like a dagger to my heart. I couldn't shake the guilt, the shame that clung to me. When we got home that night, the silence between us was suffocating. Chijioke didn't ask questions, but I could feel the distance between us growing wider. He sensed something was off, but I couldn't bring myself to tell him the truth. The weight of my betrayal hung over me like a dark cloud. Days passed. I tried to go on like nothing had happened, but the guilt was too much. I felt like a different person, like someone who had lost a part of herself. I began to avoid Chijioke, not because I didn't love him, but because I couldn't face him after what I had done. The truth came out, as truths always do. One afternoon, Chijioke found a message from David on my phone, a harmless text that meant nothing, but it was enough to raise his suspicions. He asked me point blank, and I couldn't lie. I told him everything. The look on his face broke me. His heart shattered in front of me, and there was nothing I could do to fix it. "Why, Eniola?" he asked, his voice shaking with pain. "Why would you do this to me?" I wish I could say it was the first time I had ever asked myself the same question. But the truth is, I didn't know. It was a moment of weakness, a failure I couldn't undo. Now, as I sit here writing this, I'm still unsure what will happen next. Chijioke has forgiven me, but the trust we shared has been shattered. I don't know if we can rebuild or if we even should. But one thing is for certain, that night changed everything. And no matter how hard I try, I can never erase the memory of betraying the one person I promised to love forever. Broken heart. Final thought. What do you think? Can a marriage survive something like this? How would you handle a betrayal like mine? Let me know your thoughts.